Hey there, welcome to the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. I'm your host Klaus Lauter, bringing you actionable tips and strategies to help you grow your online store and sell smarter. In today's episode, we discuss how to collect zero-party data to drive Shopify store conversions. Joining me in the show is Timothy Andersen, co-founder at Gojiberry. So let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. Today we want to talk about how to collect zero-party data and find out what that is. And we want to find out how it can drive Shopify store conversions in a better way. Joining me for that, I have a guest on the show as always. It's Timothy Andersen. He's the co-founder of Gojiberry, a leading Shopify survey tool. With a background in startups and a passion for helping Shopify merchants grow, he specialized in leveraging zero-party data to solve critical e-commerce challenges. So let's welcome him to the show. Hi, Timothy. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Klaus. I'm very happy to be here.
Let's dive right into it. For our listeners who aren't familiar with the term of zero-party data, tell me what it is and why is it so important for online stores?
Definitely. So zero-party data, to explain what it is, it's simply when your customers proactively offer their data to you. For example, our Gojiberry surveys, you can ask your customers for answers to your questions, and then they offer you the data. To compare other types of data, third-party data, for example, from third-party cookies and such, is when you're gathering data about customers from other websites. First-party data is when you're tracking your customers, but they're not proactively giving it to you. For example, web analytics tools, you can track where they're clicking, what pages they're viewing. That's first-party data. And again, zero-party data is when they're offering you the data proactively. And it's the most reliable, most trustworthy type of data you can gather.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a very good summary there, the difference between third-party and first-party cookies. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the market for a very long time if third-party cookies will go away. So I think collecting the data directly on your platform, on your store is a much better idea. Now, tell me about different ways on how to do that. You said you're doing surveys. How does it work? How can I collect this data?
So you can collect data from your customers, mainly using surveys in many different touch points along your customer journey. So you can collect it when they first enter your website and just show them a survey pop-up like, how did you hear about us? Depending on what you're trying to learn about your customers, if you want to learn if there's a way to improve your website navigation, your store navigation, ask them questions while they're navigating your store. Or you can wait until after post-purchase, after they make the purchase. Did they have a good experience on your website? And then finally, like post-sales, like after they receive the actual product in hand, you can ask them about the product, of course. Like, do you enjoy the product? Are there any products you would like to see next? So depending on the point of where in the customer journey you'd like to learn more about, there's different questions you can ask and different features you can use in Gojiberry. But we support all the different touch points in the customer journey.
Mm-hmm. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this because I think a lot of listeners are being interested in how to do a good survey. Doing a survey is not an easy part in marketing. I see a lot of very bad surveys floating out of there. And so maybe we just go through the different versions that you have and give some tips and ideas and tricks on how to create an engaging survey.
Absolutely, Klaus. So us ourselves, we're user research experts. So as product developers, IT product developers, we rely very heavily on user feedback. So one, just gathering feedback in the first place, getting lots of responses, lots of data points is very important. And then also, obviously, you want unbiased data, right? You don't want to be getting the wrong data, getting bad data that would steer you in the wrong direction. So as user research experts, we understood that it was our job to help Shopify store owners guide them into asking the right questions in the right way. So the right questions in the right way, that includes getting high response rates on your survey, making sure the questions are short. The number of clicks on your survey is few, so you get a high response rate, you get answers quickly. And then it's also our job to make sure you're asking questions in an unbiased way. The way you word the question, how you give incentives, like, for example, randomizing the options, the order of the options. So they're not just clicking the top option every time, biasing your results. So getting lots of responses, getting high response rate, getting unbiased responses with the way you're asking the question. And even like after you get the responses, what do you do with it? Like connecting to the next action. Yeah, that's not easy, right? So our team, Gojiberry team, we're constantly thinking about like how can we connect it to the next step, to the next action point.
Okay, I think that's a very, very important point. That's why I was smiling. Is like a lot of people just collect data, and that's the right thing to do. But then the next step, connecting, that's sometimes very, very difficult. So tell me about it. What are ways to really get most of the data that you just have collected?
Right. One simple one is just to share it with your team, right? Like you don't want to be using Gojiberry by yourself, looking at this big data set by yourself, and you want to copy the charts, copy the CSV data, share it with the rest of your team. So when you're having your team discussions, everybody's on the same page, and you have team discussions focused around evidence, around real data rather than intuition. And then the second thing, more practical, more thinking about like marketing automation and such. You can definitely use survey data to connect to your marketing automation tools, to your email tools. For example, a lot of our customers, they ask like, what products would you like to see next when they're trying to figure out what next products to develop? A very easy thing to do is to take that data, connect it to your Klaviyo, connect it to your email marketing app, and segment your customers. If a customer said they like product A, and when you actually make product A, you can just email them and say, okay, product A is ready. Here's a coupon if you like, or navigate them to the store and have them take a look at product A. You can segment your customers based on the responses to the survey, and you can give very personalized experience using that method.
Mm-hmm. Earlier you mentioned that you do post-purchase surveys, so you already have some data from the client, obviously order address and so on and so forth. What other questions would you ask in a post-purchase survey?
There's a whole lot of different questions. We definitely get a whole range of them. The most common question we get is marketing attribution surveys. This is where you ask, like, how did you first hear about us? So going back to the whole third-party data discussion, with the shift away from third-party data, understanding where your customers are coming from is becoming harder and harder, less and less reliable. These ad platforms, they're not able to track where your customers are coming from and converting to purchasers. So if you ask them simply, like directly, how did you first hear about us? You get a data set that's completely different from the data you'll be seeing on these ad platforms. We have customers, one example, on Google Analytics, they're seeing like 30% of customers were coming from Google search, and then 2 to 5% were coming from Instagram or YouTube, for example. When they did the survey asking, how do you first hear about us? The numbers were completely the opposite, where like 30% were coming from Instagram. These guys had a strong YouTube channel, so they're getting like 10 to 20% from YouTube. So they find out about the store on YouTube video or Instagram influencer post, and then the next day they open up the mobile and then they search the store name. So that's why they're getting high Google search numbers, where in reality they're finding out about the store in these other channels. That's the most used ones. For other, if you want to improve your marketing, you can ask demographic data, like what age group are you, what gender are you purchasing for yourself, or are you purchasing for your partner, for a friend, for a coworker? You might be a male person buying a dress, and that could confuse the data you're getting for the store. But if you get a survey response saying you're buying it for your wife, then it suddenly makes sense, like why the data you're seeing isn't matching up.
Mm-hmm. I think this not matching data is a very important point, because it directly influences where you put your marketing budget. And unfortunately, all the big platforms, I think they have the tendency to try to claim the conversion for themselves. Might it be Meta or Google? And as I said, having the data directly from the customer gives you different pictures there. I want to touch a little bit on privacy friendliness and data protection. Where in a survey would you start asking for more privacy related data?
So that's a very good point. Like privacy these days, the regulations out there are getting stricter, one, and then two, of course, end users, their preferences are getting much stricter as well. So to answer your question directly, you want to get that approval, their approval from them very early, as early as possible when they enter the website. But we've been experiencing with our surveys, people are very happy to answer a survey when they
Hmm.
understand where their data is going. When it's very obvious, if you show them a survey, obviously the response is going to go to the store owner. They trust that. They are very comfortable with it. We saw numbers in like the high 90% of people are happy to answer a survey, whereas if you're presenting them with like web analytics tools like trackers, they 60% of people distrust third-party cookies, web trackers. They just don't trust it. They don't know where the data is going. Is it going to some other website that they've never even visited? They don't trust that. They hate that. But if they know it's just going to go to the store owner, which they're very happy to support, they love the store owner. They want to be supportive. They trust that. They're happy to do it, and you're giving them a great experience.
Hmm. Before you mentioned that you can incentivize people for taking a survey, what kind of strategy would you prefer there or would you recommend there?
So incentives is one of those knobs that you can turn if you want to increase your response rate. But there is too much incentive. So if you give too much incentive, you might bias your survey results in the positive because they're getting a
Hmm.
high incentive. They might give you a positive answer. So you want to give them just enough. The rule of thumb that we always tell our customers is for every 1 minute it takes to answer a survey, you want to give $1 amount of incentive. So if it's like just a couple questions, you can let takes less than a minute, just give them $1. If you want to ask a lot of questions, like maybe take 2, 3 minutes, then you want to give like $2, $3. But you don't want to give too much to bias their responses, but you want to get your response rate up, get those responses quickly.
Hmm. Let's dive into your Shopify app. Obviously, that helps with creating surveys. What's your take on how many surveys should you do in a customer journey? Does it start to become annoying? So where's the fine line to keep it balanced?
There's definitely too many surveys. I would just say one at a time. Users aren't
Hmm.
very bothered by seeing multiple surveys throughout the entire customer journey. You can give one when they enter the website, just one when they after they purchase, and then another one post sales, like after they receive the product. Like 3 surveys over a long span of time is not too much, but obviously you can overdo it if you're showing like 2, 3 surveys like post purchase. You'll start to overwhelm the user a little bit, but I would say one survey at each touch point. They are separated. I don't think that would bother the user experience too much, and they would be happy to respond.
Hmm. Can you give an example of one of your clients, what happened once they installed the survey feature to their store and what kind of results they saw?
One of our great case studies happened with this fashion store from Canada. They were trying to think of what product they wanted to order next and add to their store. So they like any store out there, they have a inventory problem where if you order too much, you have all this dead stock. If you don't order
Hmm.
enough, you're losing opportunity. So they in the past they would have like $80,000 worth of dead stock, right? Like that's somewhat common for the bigger stores out there. So predicting how many products to order, they used our survey, product discovery survey. What product would you like to see next? Showed 4 pictures and had their customer pick which one they liked. So once they had that data, the next team discussion they had, it wasn't based on intuition, whose opinion was strongest. They all had a shared data set they're looking at, and it was clear like which product would be the most popular. So they ordered based on that data set on the relative ratio of products of each product design, and they significantly lowered the inventory, the dead stock they had in that batch. So you can save a lot of money if you have the right data set, especially in around dead stock.
Hmm. It's an interesting insight into how surveys really help. Nothing I would have thought of. I would say more the front end on marketing, but I'm a marketing guy. But I think there's such a strong feedback loop coming from survey. Now let's talk about your Shopify app. How does it work? What kind of features does it have? How does the onboarding work?
Absolutely. So again, we're user research ourselves. We're user research experts ourselves. So when we started Gojiberry, our goal was to bring the power of user research to Shopify store owners. And we learned very quickly that Shopify store owners are very busy, right? Like they're doing, like we were talking about, dealing with inventory, dealing with marketing, they're boxing the products, like they're doing 100 different things. So getting the power of feedback from your customers in an easy way was our goal. So we broke it down into like three main components, where getting high responses efficiently was the one component. The next one, in an unbiased way, so you're getting correct data, not incorrect data, guiding you in the wrong direction, and then taking action on the survey results. So when you install Gojiberry, we're guiding you. We are the user research experts. Some of Shopify store owners out there might be experts or have experience around it, but a whole bunch of Shopify store owners just don't have that user research experience. They don't have a user research expert on their team. So we help you with templates, helping you understand the right way to ask a question. We help you with how much incentive to give. We help you on where to place it on your website, what part of the customer journey. And then we make sure the results are easy to understand, easy to share with your team. So you're getting high response rates, you're getting unbiased data, you're sharing it with your team, and you're connecting it to your marketing tools, other apps that you have installed. So all those different parts of the customer journey, we have all of it inside our app. We're guiding you throughout the entire journey. That was our intention. And we consistently hear about how easy it is to use Gojiberry and how easy it is to set up these surveys and how helpful they are once they start seeing this data come in.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Is there any kind of homework that the merchants need to do before they can get started?
You just need to know what you want to ask, right? So you need to know what it is about your business you want to improve. We find that people who already know what questions they want to ask when they enter Gojiberry have the best experiences. We do give you categories of topics to ask if you're really coming in with not really sure what to ask, which is perfectly fine. But think about like where are the bottlenecks in your business? What would you like to learn about your customer? And you'll find that when you're asking your customer questions about these problems, about these bottlenecks, the answer is so much more clear. We experience this ourselves on the Gojiberry team when we're not getting feedback about what our customers' needs are, what problems they're facing. The discussions are much more stressful. Like we're in the dark, we don't know what to work on next. But when you're asking your customers questions like, where are you having problems? And they're telling you like, we're running into a problem here. Like, could you improve this? We would love to see that. When 10 people tell you the same thing, like the team discussions are so much easier. Everyone agrees. Like, yeah, the thing that everybody is saying, let's work on that first. And suddenly you're growing your business much more efficiently, data driven, based on evidence. So think about what your bottlenecks are. Think about what you want to learn about your customer, and just install Gojiberry and start asking them. And then you'll find your discussions go much smoother. What you should be working on next is much more clear. You'll be having a much better time growing your Shopify business.
Mm-hmm. I like that you mentioned that the Gojiberry team takes you by the hand during the onboarding process. And as user experience experts, you know, basically if somebody, because the problem is you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't really know what to ask, then I'm sure that your team will help there and point them into the right direction. Let's talk about the pricing structure. How do you charge?
Our pricing is very simple. We have a free plan to help you test out the survey, set up the survey, make sure it's working the way you wish. And we have a plus plan, a paid plan, currently $15 a month. We're one of the cheaper options out there against the other surveys. Unlimited responses. So we'll help you get set up. And once you're set up, you have unlimited responses. and you can start running your survey.
Okay, no, that sounds absolutely like a no-brainer. And I think every store out there should use this feature in their business, in their customer experience, because the data is just so valuable. Before we come to the end of the coffee break today, Timothy, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
Just the way the industry is changing these days, like e-commerce and the internet industry at large, like trust is we're losing it every day. The loss of trust is becoming more and more powerful, especially with AI these days. As powerful a tool as it is, think about when you scroll through Instagram, like half the content out there, you can't trust if it was generated by AI or if it was built with some intent of manipulating you or like lying to you. You don't trust it anymore. So if you want to build a great Shopify e-commerce business where you have a great relationship with your customers, where you trust each other, you want to build that human aspect. We're all about the human connection at Gojiberry. So connecting with your customers, asking them human questions, getting responses from the real human being on the other side of the screen, you'll find it to be very motivating. When you hear feedback directly from your customers, it's super motivating. If you're a new entrepreneur out there and you're struggling, it's very motivating to hear from real people using your product. So make sure you reach out to them. Build that human connection, build that personalized experience. They'll love you for it. You'll love you for it. And you'll find that growing your business will be much easier. So we love to be part of that journey, and we're working every day to help that experience for you.
Okay, cool. And it's I think it's very valid reasoning that you have there. Trust becomes more and more important. I'm absolutely with you on that one. Where can people go and find out more about you guys?
So you can find us at gojiberry.app, gojiberry.app, or just search Gojiberry on the Shopify App Store, and we'll be towards the top.
Okay, I will put the links in the show notes, then you're just one click away. Timothy, thanks so much for giving us an overview today on how you can use data with surveys to get a good customer feedback and to optimize your business and your marketing. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Klaus.